reeling from that promo. Still reeling from that promo. Hangman Ospreay is going to be so good. Let's talk about Double or Nothing.
Now that my eardrums are gone.
I was going to cuss, but I don't want to get demonetized this early. I am very excited for this pay-per-view.
No, we got that.
I'm very excited for this main event. Intrigued about Anarchy in the Arena. There's some questions here.
Yeah.
And we got the Owen finals. So let's get into it. You go ahead. What match do you want first?
We'll just go down the line. So we'll start with Jamie Mercedes. Mercedes is going to win, obviously. That's what I've been saying the entire time. Okay? It's clear.
I'm sure that I talked about this in other predictions and stuff. I was riding the Jamie Hayter train for a while that she was going to end up winning and going on to face Tony.
I was never on that train.
It was going to be Jamie Mariah. I don't think so now. I do agree with you. I think it's Mercedes. It's going to be Mercedes Tony. So I think the Mercedes is winning the title at All In.
That's also very possible.
But we could see the downfall of Mercedes as she lost the New Japan Strong Championship. But I do think that Jamie ends up taking the L. She did say in her promo, if she loses, like, why is she here? What is the reasoning for Jamie Hayter? What's Jamie Hayter's story? Why did she come back?
Questions that more than just one person want to
know. Jamie's dope, and I think that that's going to be her story going forward. But Mercedes gets the win here, which also is nothing to do with this card, but I do think that that makes it going to be Athena versus Billy at All In. Unless they do Athena Jamie. Could you imagine Jamie being ROH Women's Champion?
Sure.
Just a thought. Anyways.
Sure.
Now we got the Hurt Syndicate and Bobby Lashley and Shelton.
I have questions.
With MJF in there.
I have questions.
What?
I have questions.
What's up?
The fuck was the segment on Dynamite?
I mean, dope for MJF to get in the group.
I was kind of hoping MJF would get in the group because I've just been enjoying it and it's been funny.
Yeah.
But I think we all really gaslit ourselves into thinking Cedric was coming.
100%.
Which, you know, we do that. It's fine.
Yeah.
But Dustin and Sammy coming out felt like it didn't fit.
It didn't.
And then the promo was very messy. So just like L's all around on that one. They still don't let Sammy speak.
Nope.
Which is also kind of annoying. I don't... Now that there's no, like, fuckery going on with MJF, I don't think they're losing.
We are demonetized now.
Oh, sorry.
You're good. I think that MJF could cost them.
He could, but why when he got in?
I don't know. Dustin called him a snake in the grass. I do feel like MJF's going to end up being some kind of snake. Or they're going to snake MJF.
I think if it was just, like, Sammy and someone else, then maybe, like, because you can make them go heel and MJF helps them win. But they're not going to make Dustin Rhodes a heel.
Oh, you thought that? Oh, okay. I get what you're saying.
Like, MJF helps them. That's not going to happen.
MJF just, like, takes on different, like, personas. Like, now he's a Texan.
Right. Like, no, that's not happening.
Loki, MJF, Dustin Rhodes, Sammy Guevara.
I think also, if I'm being honest, I just, like, this feels unexpected.
It's random. It's random as hell.
It feels random. I mean, I am never going to complain about Sammy Guevara being on my TV. No. But it feels really weird. I feel like now the Hurt Syndicate retains.
Yeah.
But what I thought we were doing was they bring in Cedric instead of MJF, do a last-minute switch. MJF is pissed, and he costs them at Double or Nothing. But now he's in. There's no Cedric. There's no issues. There's no drama. There's no nothing. So now I just feel like the Hurt Syndicate win.
Yep, I think so.
So it's a little disappointing.
It's very weird. Very, very weird. I need some answers for some of this stuff and some story progression in this match. MJF's going to be hilarious. I know that. And then we get to Toni Storm versus Mina Shirakawa for the AEW Women's Championship. Mina obviously won the Eliminator to get this title shot. She's not defeating Timeless Toni Storm. Obviously, Tony's going to win. She's going to go on to face Mercedes. I think the big question here is, do we see Mariah May?
I hope so. But is this the order?
No,
it's not the order, right? No. Okay, we're just looking on Wikipedia. If it's early in the show, I think no. If it's later in the show, I think maybe. And I say later because even with Mariah, I say quietly so my dog doesn't hear, returning, I don't know if they would still main event that with Anarchy in the Arena and Hangman versus Ospreay
No.
on the card. So, like, it could be third to last match,
Which-
and we could still have her come back. I mean, she hasn't been gone that long.
Yeah.
It's been months, but it hasn't been that long.
I think that they would be third to last.
Also, interesting. I don't know if I'm overthinking this because I want her to stay in AEW, but somebody tweeted about her being gone, and she was like, God forbid he take a vacation.
Yeah, nah, she
Vacation means you're coming back. So.
Or vacation, it could be vacation from wrestling, and then she's going to show up in WWE.
Or it could mean that just a vacation from AEW.
I mean, AEW, still has her on contract if they want to use her.
Yeah.
She could still be used. She puts over Mina, and then she leaves. Like, who knows?
Oh.
Okay. I think she's going to WWE personally.
I just feel like
that's just my personal.
But then they better let her be the same.
Yeah, I think she'll be. I mean, she's not gonna have like the bloody classics. But
she's not gonna
she'll
have
be
the
dope.
matches won't be as good.
I mean,
they're
we'll
not
see.
gonna do the bloody
we got
stuff,
Io.
the
We
fun
got
stuff.
We got Julia.
Yeah, but that's different.
I mean, she can have bangers.
They're not gonna let her do the bloody stuff.
No, she's not gonna do the
fun
bloody stuff.
They're probably not gonna let her kiss other women on TV.
Yeah, I don't know how much they're gonna allow that either.
Which they're gonna take all. Those are very large parts of Mariah May. They're gonna take.
Yeah,
out.
Mariah, half your personality is
Bloody lesbian stuff.
bloody
all right?
Well, that's not.
I said what I
that's
said.
Kind of a weird
all right,
sentence
moving
there.
on to the next. Oh, this is disgusting. FTR versus Garcia and Nigel.
Don't ever disrespect Garcia and Nigel.
I'm not. I'm talking about
Thank you.
FTR.
Thank you. You better
Your
be.
boy needs better stories.
He does. I've been
needs,
saying that.
Like, it's like there was a moment when he was doing the promo with Nigel, and Nigel was like deciding if he was gonna wrestle. And Garcia started laughing, and I think he was laughing like at Nigel, but like part of me was kind of like, are you laughing at your life right now? Like, what's happening?
Yeah, ever since he won the TNT, low key, maybe I should do a breakdown.
Should have stayed on Jack Perry.
No, I should. Maybe I should start doing a breakdown. The TNT title might be a curse.
Jack did great.
Who's the last great TNT champion? Don't
Jack
be biased.
Perry.
All right. So the last great TNT champion was like it was Christian Cage. That was it. I don't even put
remember
Cope
his
like
title
that.
reign.
Christian
I don't
Cage.
even remember
when
that.
when Luchasaurus had it, but like Christian had it, and
so Luchasaurus had it.
But then he beat Edge after Edge had it for like 3 seconds, and he cashed in.
Kind of
beat him.
remember that.
But that was the last good TNT champion. And I feel like Christian's just kind of like immune to curses. But it feels like it's been cursed for like ever since they allowed American Made to be a part of the stories in like 2022. It's been cursed.
American Made.
American Top Team. That's what I meant.
Okay.
Uh,
I don't think American Made was in that story.
Yeah. No, they were not a part of the story.
No. Okay.
Garcia's been kind of cursed, so hopefully this gets Garcia out of it.
I'm
Unfortunately,
gonna be real. I'm worried FTR is winning.
Unfortunately, I think FTR is winning. The only way that FTR loses is if we see the return of Edge and he takes out FTR, giving Garcia and Nigel the win.
That's possible. I'm gonna go with Garcia and Nigel because I refuse to pick FTR for anything.
You know what? I will also go Garcia and Nigel
I was
just
also
because
trying to be
I'm a
different
fan.
than you, but okay.
So then go FTR.
I don't want to ever do
Thank
that.
you. And then could we also see Danielson here? Just Nigel.
Why?
Just Nigel. What if Nigel was just like, fucking Garcia, you pissed me off, you lost. Like, I blame you. And Danielson says, hey, that's my son you're talking
Right.
to.
So you think that Danielson died, basically,
He's
middle of the
coming
ring
back.
from John Moxley, and you think that when he returns, it's gonna be for Garcia and Nigel versus FTR rather than
crazy.
John Moxley?
Do you think that Bryan Danielson may come back against, like, arguably his greatest rival of all time?
When that wasn't at all part of the story whatsoever, not the reason
Why
that
would
he
you-
got taken out
Why would you want to go fight the guy that kills you?
because he tried to kill you.
Yeah, I don't want to fuck with Mox right now.
What?
He got an army, dog.
Oh my God.
It's either that. I think Danielson gets a match at All In. So I think it's either Nigel, possibly Garcia, which would be really, really cool, or Wheeler Yuta. I could see that happening.
Battle of the running knees. Wheeler's is better. Anyway,
That's
so
crazy.
let's go to Mark Briscoe versus Ricochet. I'm gonna go with Briscoe. I almost said Ricochet.
Okay, we finally disagree here. I'm going to go
Okay.
Ricochet.
I feel like Ricochet keeps getting wins.
I feel like he's taking some L's, man.
I think just like him as a character is an L, so it feels like he takes L's. Like just like he's an annoying like loser. Like he
Oh.
doesn't. It's not like he's bad.
I was like, his character's awesome. So.
No, he's doing great as his character. I just feel like him as his character is like he's a loser.
He's a
trying
walking
to be
L.
cool.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I'm feeling Briscoe W. So I'm rolling with it. It's also a stretcher match, and if anybody's gonna go balls to the wall psychotic, it's gonna be Mark Briscoe. So I'm going with Briscoe.
I think Mark Briscoe does go balls to the wall, psychotic, and it ends up costing him because Ricochet uses the scissors. He does something there.
I think Briscoe wins. I'm going with it.
Give me Rico. Is that our first
disagreement? Finally, yes. I tried to disagree with you for the last one, and then you went with what
No, I mean, I can't go against Garcia. I think that Ricochet wins, and then we start to kind of elevate Ricochet back up. I am assuming that once Kevin Knight gets back from the Best of Super Juniors, that he will be going up against Ricochet again.
How long is that?
Till the end of the month.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, it's not that long. Okada versus Mike Bailey in the Continental Championship match.
I'm gonna go with bitch.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go with Okada.
Yeah, it's Okada because they're gonna do Okada Kenny for all in.
Yeah, that's fair.
If it wasn't, I would be like, they might give it to Speedball.
I'm excited about the match. I'm excited for this match.
Low key, if they decide not to, because everyone has just possibly gaslit themselves into the unification of the International and the Continental Championship.
We all gaslight ourselves into Cedric.
Right, so exactly. We gaslight ourselves a lot in wrestling.
We do.
What if, because they've just done the face-to-face between Kenny and Okada, but correct me if I'm wrong, I don't believe that they've ever held up the titles at the same time or anything. I could see it just straight up being Kenny versus Okada for the International Championship, and they have an upset here, and Speedball takes the title off. That's not crazy to me.
I mean, they teased Bailey versus Kenny when he first came back.
Right.
Or debuted, I should say.
Well, also just Bailey holding the title into the C2, that would be dope. And then I could see Bailey losing the title in the C2.
Slowly coming up. We're
not that far off.
This has been a really quick 8 months.
It starts off what, October?
Oh my god,
something like that. So that wouldn't be crazy to give Speedball a couple months of a really really cool reign, and then you go into the C2 and he could possibly lose the title in the C2. I really like that idea. I think it could also make it. I just feel like Okada. I don't, because I feel like if Okada has the C2, if Okada has the Continental Championship, they're not gonna have Okada lose so much that he's not in the finals. So the finals kind of like last year, where you're like, all right, well, Okada's making it to the finals at least, and then Kenny did the same thing. So either they unify the championships, which could very well happen, or put the title on Speedball right here to make it very unpredictable. Either way, I really really like that.
That's so much information. I'm going with Okada. Bitch.
I'm gonna go Okada here too.
All right, cool. And then do you want to do Hangman versus Ospreay?
No, we're gonna go to Anarchy in the Arena. Okay. It is going to be.
I'm going with Team Moxley, Death Riders.
Team AEW versus Death Riders and the Young Bucks. So it's gonna be Kenny Omega, Swerve Strickland, Willow Nightingale, the Ops of Samoa Joe, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Katsuyori Shibata versus Death Riders of John Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, Marina Shafir, Wheeler Yuta, Matthew Jackson, and Nicholas Jackson. The Young Bucks. I am going to go and disagree with you once again. I'm going to go with Team AEW. Look at this. Look at that lineup.
Death Riders.
Look at that lineup, bro.
Yeah.
Kenny, Swerve.
Yeah.
Willow.
Yeah.
Joe.
Yeah.
Hobbs.
Yeah.
Shibata.
Mm-hmm.
I think the biggest question here is why the fuck is Gabe Kidd not a part of this?
That is very weird. I kind of wonder if that was the plan and something fell through.
I think that the plan. And
I wonder if the plan was Eddie and he's not ready yet.
I'm gaslighting myself into saying that Eddie is ready.
So
Eddie don't even gotta be ready.
No, hold on. I had an idea. What if that's still the plan?
That's what I'm saying is the plan. Yeah.
What?
I think that's what's happening.
What?
Is that Eddie is coming back.
When?
For this match.
Okay, well that was my idea first.
To take out Gabe.
So it was my idea first.
Okay.
So, but I think the reason they're not putting it in there is because it's too obvious. If they say Gabe Kidd and a surprise, they're gonna be like, oh, Eddie's coming back. So they're not doing it to hide it.
I made this TikTok and I was like, why the fuck isn't Gabe Kidd a part of it? And I was like, then the only thing that makes sense is that Eddie Kingston is going to be a part of this, and they didn't want to do it because then they would have to advertise it, and that would make.
So did we have that thought at the same time in separate rooms at the house?
Yeah. Well, people started commenting on my TikTok. They were like, "Did you just ask a question and then answer it in your own video?"
Yes.
And I was like, "Yeah, I did." Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That I'm going to gaslight myself into believing that. Maybe it's Hook, but Gabe Kidd's obviously got to get involved in some.
Can I be honest?
What? No,
I like Hook, but that's not acceptable.
If they have Hook as the guy for Sunday, they should have advertised Gabe in this match and just put Hook in there. The only way to not have Gabe a part of this match, or advertised for the match, but not a part of the match, is to have Eddie Kingston or maybe Darby Allin involved.
Yeah.
But I don't think that I
not
think Darby still got to climb down.
I don't know. I don't know if he's back in
I don't
the
know
country.
I don't know if he's back down the mountain. All right.
Yeah.
Because Tony Khan said that he hopes that he gets back down.
That's also fair.
So
which means Tony, as of earlier today, was not sure if he touched back down.
And does Eddie need to be like ready? Right? Because let's say Eddie's ready for All In. So this is May what?
Today's the 22nd.
22nd, right? So May 25th is the pay-per-view.
Okay, yes.
You got a month and a half till All In.
Mm-hmm.
So he can attack Gabe, just pull him out somewhere, stop him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Have a look at Moxley, and Moxley's like, oh fuck.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my best friend from my past. He knows that I'm not the guy anymore. I'm not Moxley anymore, right? And then you could just have Eddie cut crazy promos on Moxley and be like, I'm gonna break you in half. And then Hangman or Ospreay or whoever's gonna beat you. And he ends up coaching Hangman or Ospreay. He doesn't need to wrestle.
Oh my god, what did you just say? Hold on, I'm yawning. What'd you just say?
I said a lot.
What is coaching?
Eddie Kingston coaches Hangman or Ospreay. You can't, no. Listen.
That coaching in what? William Ospreay? Eddie Kingston is coaching? Stop talking. I can't deal with this. That's so insanity. It's so insanity. Somewhere Ospreay just went.
No, Ospreay's the best wrestler in the world, right?
Right.
Hangman's the best character in the world with Tony Storm, right? Right? Correct.
Daddy Dom.
But neither one of them, Hangman maybe a little bit more, but neither one of them is willing to put gasoline on somebody and go to set them on fire.
Like they're not psychopaths?
Eddie could bring out a psychopathic rage in Will Ospreay that he's never had. All right?
You do realize neither of those men are beating Mox anyway. They're winning.
They're winning.
No, they're losing.
No, we're getting out of this Death Rider story. We're getting out of it on All In.
No, we're not. No, we're not. No, we're not. No, we're not.
Let's get out of it.
I think All In is going to be the one where we probably disagree on like half the matches at minimum.
Yeah.
Because no, we're not. We're not.
And then we get to the main event.
Oh yeah.
Is
that confirmed?
Yeah, I don't know.
Ospreay wants it. But
Ospreay's kind of called Tony out.
He did. I feel like I get why he wants it, and I get why it would be deserved. I'm not against it, but logistically, is that not difficult to do after an Anarchy in the Arena match?
Don't care.
Okay.
Don't care. I just don't care. I just don't give a fuck. This is the match.
Demonetized.
No, because you gotta wait like until you're like a couple minutes in. So like we're good now.
Whatever.
But no, Hangman versus Ospreay is it is the match to see who can like save AEW. But I think it's truly like going forward, who is the main character, who is the face of the company. And I think that this is arguably. This very well could be the match of the year. I think I'm going to go out on a limb and say that it's match of the year. It ain't going to be Darby Allin, dog. It ain't going to be Darby Allin. Darby Allin, thank you so much.
He's at the top of the mountain.
I hope that you enjoy your mountain climb. Hangman or Ospreay is going to win the title at All In.
He said, coffin drop!
I think that this is as 50-50 as a big match feels.
Nah, dude, I'm winning. I'm coming back at All In. Marisa's plan was right.
That sounds nothing
like
Darby
TikTok.
Allin.
I don't know how to do his voice. I can't imitate things, so I'm just talking for him.
I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say that Will Ospreay wins this one. It's really tough for me, though.
We say Ospreay.
You're going to go Ospreay as well?
Of course.
I see there's so many. I mean, the Redemption to the Ascension line. Ospreay, I could see winning this, and he goes to the O2, and he goes, and he's champion, and they celebrate at Forbidden Door. He could also lose to Jon Moxley, as you he could also...
I can figure out how to get his arms up.
He could also go to the O2, not champion, and go into that arena going, I failed everybody. Maybe that's then where you introduce Osprey is lost. He doesn't know himself, and then he maybe needs somebody from his past, such as maybe that's where you introduce Michael Oku, you know, something like that. Something like that could happen. Well, you could have Hangman.
They should bring Wifey in.
Maybe Alex comes in. Absolutely.
I don't know.
Maybe that there was symbolism between Osprey drinking, right? Hangman lost himself, and his ascension to AEW was, him falling to rock bottom, drinking constantly. This and then his rise to go and finally beat Kenny. That this may be the Osprey's long-term thing, where you believe that Osprey, a year before he actually does, is going to end up winning it, and he's going to fall into a deep, deep, dark depression, drink, and then he's going to need the likes of Michael Oku and Alex Windsor to bring him back up to All In 2026. That's actually, I'm saying it. I actually kind of like the idea.
So, no, it's going to be my plan.
But we could also see Hangman win. Hangman said that he was going to save AEW in 2023 against CM Punk and failed.
Yeah.
Now it's 2025. 2 years later, does he do it? Does he finally save AEW from Moxley? Does he do the thing that he couldn't do 2 years ago?
No. But we give him an A for effort. Give him an A plus for trying.
There's such a depth of layers to this story and to the ultimate victory here that I'm going to be a little annoyed if they're like, nah, man, we're doing Darby. And I don't hate Darby in any kind. I think Darby's awesome. And I think that the story was supposed to be Darby. But the layers that are there for Will Ospreay and Hangman just outweigh, I think, Darby's championship win. If Darby was there the entire time, I think that Darby should be champion. Here's
the thing. If they have it be Darby still, y'all are going to see the craziest conflicting responses to a return to ever exist. Hangman or Ospreay loses to Mox at All In, Darby comes back just like I predicted it. I'm gonna roll with it as if that's what's happening.
Right.
If that's what happens,
I think that you're right about that.
If that's what happens, we are going to he is going to be pissed.
Yeah.
Because whoever lost and Darby's back, and that means Darby is winning, and I am going to be elated with happiness. And it's going to be the most conflicting response on the same podcast probably ever.
What I really hope, and it's a reason why I think that Darby might not be winning, is I really would have liked if they would have done that, for them not to just be like, oh, Darby climbing Mount Everest. They should have just added these little bits and pieces of somebody up in the rafters, and they don't need to show it, but somebody watching
hint that he's there.
Because that's what. So Sting did this for an entire year. Sting was just up in the rafters, and he didn't save anybody from NWO, and then eventually he comes down, and he's the savior of WCW. To do that with Darby would have been so serendipitous that it would have been I would have been all for Darby.
So
but they've done
hear that.
nothing.
No, I hear that, but it's hard to do that when everybody knows where he really is.
Sure, but just for the fucking story, you don't need to actually show Darby, or you can have these little things.
I think even hinting to it would kind of be we know he's not there.
I think that
also gives it away.
Right, I was gonna say the only thing that it would be to give it away, but then you would get that, I don't know. With Moxley and this whole Death Rider story, I think that there's also been a lack of enthusiasm for this story. It's just kind of all right, so are we just waiting for Darby? If we kind of knew that Cody Rhodes was defeating Roman Reigns for a fucking year, and people were still into it, and people were still down with it, right? Yeah. That to do if you would have had Brody King, and then you'd have fucking Sting. And you just have these people just pop up, and finally, they were all watching over for Darby. They were all protecting AEW for Darby and telling Darby, this is what's happening. You need to go save them. No, and maybe it was Brody King has a conversation with Hangman, because Darby says, no, Hangman can do it.
Yeah.
Hangman's got this. Osprey's got this. Yeah. Swerve's got this. And then they all fail, and they say, Darby, we need it to be you. Something like that.
I feel
it's not that fucking hard.
I feel like they're going to have something of that when he comes back. They'll have a different explanation for where he was, or something that ties it back together. But we're not going to know until he comes back.
I think that they're just he's going to climb Mount Everest and be like, y'all were stressed?
I think the arena will pop when Darby comes back. I do think there will be a portion of AEW fans hyped when he comes back, and I think that will be a mix of like the hardcore Darby fans like myself and the people who just want Death Riders to end and they know that Darby's back, so now it's gonna end. But I think if they go with my idea that I've only brought up once or twice, and they have all of the losers behind Darby, and all form a team,
I think rude to call them the losers.
That's the best way to make sure that you're getting the largest group of people behind the story, is if you're like, well, Darby's gonna fucking win, but like Hangman and Ospreay are gonna help him, and Eddie's gonna help him, and like Swerve, like all these people who couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Show like Darby comes back, these guys back him up. They all are standing there together, and they're helping Darby. You would still want to root for those people. I think that's the best way to ensure you're getting like the largest portion of fans backing this plan.
I do think that's a really good.
I'm a fucking genius.
I think that's a really good option B. I think that they should just go with option A.
Which is?
Hangman or Ospreay.
No.
You got your two guys for. This is the future of AEW.
It
still goes to the Mox story.
I am with you. I hear you. No. I'm going with Darby.
I am going to say that Will Ospreay wins this, and
I do think Ospreay wins.
I am going to go out on a limb and say I'm going to say either one, whoever wins, Hangman or Ospreay, they end up winning at All In, even though I feel like I may be wrong, and it will be Darby, but that's what I'm going to go with.
Okay, I'm going with Ospreay. He is going to lose at All In, but Darby's going to come back with his group of people and save the day, and it's going to be fine.
All right, cool.
All right, cool.
Well, that is that. Let us know your predictions down in the comments below, and we will see you guys in the next one. Deuces.
Bye.